Oop. I didn't mean to tag a friend. Sorry, guys. But I wanted to make sure that I could send it to you guys. Oh, maybe that's the wrong thing. How come it won't let me do it anymore? It just keeps saying tag a friend, tag a friend, tag a friend, tag a friend. Really freaking weird, okay? So I want to go live on here. Don't mind my really frizzy hair, okay? I tried a new product tonight. I didn't put any product in my hair first, so like the underneath looks amazing. The top looks really crazy, okay? It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. But I have something really, really exciting for you guys. Every single one of you guys have been asking me how I train my new distributors, and I feel like with this business, you never have an instruction manual, right? I feel like it's always touch and go. You never really know exactly what you're doing. It's kind of just a wing it, right? There's always just trial and error. You're told all the time, trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. Just try whatever works, whatever doesn't work for you, throw it out the window, whatever works for you, keep it. And so here's the thing is that there's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong way to do things. There's no right or wrong way to train someone. There's no right or wrong way to, talk to people and stuff like that. I'm going to go share this on our team page really quick, just to make sure. And then I really got to get going because I have another meeting tonight. Let's go ahead and take it from here. Oh, here I am. Oh, it's not letting me share. Okay, anyways. Let's go ahead and tag some people then. Whoops. I just want to see someone's beautiful face on first. Just so I can make sure I'm in the right area, make sure that everything's good. All these things, okay? Okay, so you guys have been asking me like crazy. And about, what I'm doing, how I'm getting people started, how it's working so well. I know that I had this conversation with April several times, and I also know that she said it in the trainings and stuff like this several freaking times about relationships. And for a while, I ignored her. I'm not going to lie. I'll be the first person to say that I thought of, okay, well, that's not going to help me get my promotion, right? Like when she said building relationships, I was like, I don't want to take my time and waste it building a relationship. That's the first thing that I thought was, if I build a relationship with someone and they leave, I'm going to be more devastated because I've got that little yellow side in me that's just like, please don't leave. Don't let me go. Things like that, right? We feel devastated when people leave our business. And so I waited for the longest time to actually start implementing what she was telling me because I wanted to promote. I wanted to promote so bad, and I was being selfish. And I didn't really think about what it could actually mean for me to build a relationship with someone and how much more stability, how much better leaders I would have, how much better people on our team we would have, and stuff like that. And so, guys, I've been implementing it. I have been putting it in my business. And so I'm going to share with you guys exactly the steps that I take in order to make it happen. And I've got it all written down for myself. So you'll see me looking down like crazy, like I usually do. I'm crazy, right? So anyways, I do this and I implement it in 6 different steps. So here's the deal, guys. People get started with you. Don't overextend yourself. If you are going for a promotion and you know that you need to have 13 people for this promotion or something like that, right? People are going to quit. There's going to be some people who are going to get started. They're going to quit. They're not going to be with it 100%. They're going to get in. They're going to realize that it's more work than they thought they were going to, get into and stuff like that. It happens all the time, right? There's people who say that they're ready to make it happen and they're really not ready to make it happen. There's people who get in here and their mindsets are just such crap that they just walk away, right? There's always going to be people coming through your business. You're going to have touch and go. It's going to be a high turnover rate. But building relationships makes it a higher percentage of them actually staying than if you were to just hand them a ton of videos and say, hey, Go ahead, listen to this. Come back when you're done. Listen to this. Come back when you're done. Half the freaking time they don't read it. Half the time they don't listen to it. So it's so important that instead of sending them a video where either you or someone else is training, you get them on the phone. You get them on the video call. And so that really has changed my business so much. And so you guys have been asking me like crazy, and I'm just going to lay it out for you guys. I'm going to go step by step and just read off my paper exactly what I've been doing, the steps, and you can feel free to write it down too. So I'd pull out a pen and a piece of paper, write this down. Try this with the next 5 people that you sign. If it works, great. Use it every single time. If something works with it, but something else doesn't work with it, okay, swap that out, change it out, make it your own, right? This is just what I'm doing, and this is what April has been telling us to do for so long, and it's actually working. They're actually staying. They're actually building a friendship with me. They're actually getting excited. They're actually getting their first 6 loyal customers themselves. They're actually, doing all the things that I've wanted our team and our newbies to do for so freaking long. They're growing into leaders, and they're growing into leaders extremely fast, okay? So the first thing that I do is they get started, I congratulate them. I say I'm so excited. I'm so excited to work with you. Congratulations on clicking that submit button. I know I was so terrified when I first got started in this business, but after a while, it just became normal and it was exciting, and you're going to learn so much. And I'm so thankful that you made the decision to sign up and get started with me. Okay. So I'm grateful for them. I'm excited for them. I talked to them about their taxes first. So because you just never know, there's some people who literally get started and within like an hour, they all heck breaks loose in their house, and they all of a sudden vanish and you never see them again, right? There is always that one out of like 20 people where that happens. And so it's important that we understand that we're going to have to make sure that we get the laundry done first, right? So I say, okay, I'm going to send you this website. You're going to go ahead and get onto it. Once you're on it, let me know. I'm going to walk you through how to fill out your tax forms, okay? There is nothing different about signing your tax forms. It's still the same exact thing. It's been the same exact thing for the last 3 years. There's a little button at the top of the screen. I don't think they're changing it anytime soon. So there's a little button at the beginning at the top of the screen that says fill your tax forms or sign your tax forms or fill out your tax return, things like that, right? Anything that has to do with tax at the top. Sometimes it's in red, sometimes it's in black, but you can literally have them click on it. Tell them to sign that first. When they fill that out, the next thing that I do is I get on a Zoom with them within the next 24 hours, and I make them choose the time that they can commit to, okay? So does this mean that I'm telling them I'm wide open, you can choose anytime you want? No. That's not true, because I have a schedule myself. I know what slots I can fit people in. There's some people who are going through their leadership and they're starting to get really good, and now they're going to start hopping on the leadership calls once they promote, and now I can put someone in their slot that they were in before and have that other person go on the leadership calls instead, right? So it's always going to be this constant revolving door. You've got one person who graduates to leadership, you get another brand new person in that slot to take that spot, right? And so I know what times during the day that I'm open. So if you work a full-time job, you know that you probably only have like an hour to 2 hours at the end of the day. Guess what? 1 hour spent completely with your business. The next hour doing 15 to 30 minute conference calls with people, checking in on them one-on-one, okay? I highly recommend this. And I'm going to break that down for you too, okay? So with this call, I have them schedule it. I say, these are the times that I'm available. What time works best for you? If they are ready, they're going to say, okay, I'll pick this time. I usually tell them to reserve X amount of time. So if you know that you've only got 30 minutes, like a 30-minute slot, make sure you tell them. You want to make sure you hop on before I get on so that we can make sure we have that entire 30 minutes together. Because if you hop on 10 minutes late, you now cut your time almost in half, right? And now you have to kind of rush it. If you tell them I've got 15 minutes to hop on with you at this time, then what I would do is I would say, okay, Now you've cut, you've got 15 minutes. So you want to hop on before, because otherwise you're going to cut your time down and it's going to be a lot harder, right? So, with this Zoom, so that's number one, I get them to schedule their own Zoom. I tell them what time it is. I usually do it on Zoom. I would rather do it on Zoom than on Messenger, so my phone's not going crazy and blowing up and messages popping up on the screen while I'm talking to them and all that good stuff, right? So that's the first thing I do. I ask them when works best for them out of the slots that I have open, right? Which also, you're a business owner. You should be scheduling your time, right? And so that allows them to know that you're available certain times. That sets the boundaries for when they can contact you, when they can talk to you about certain things in the business and stuff like that, because other times you're with your family, you're working, you're doing the things, right? And so you can kind of have that discussion with them as well. So the second thing that I do is when I get them on that Zoom, I go right down this list, and I'm gonna tell you guys this so you guys can feel free to write it down. This is what I'm doing. The first half of the Zoom, I am talking about them. I'm having a conversation with them about them. So for example, if it's a 1 hour Zoom, 30 minutes of it is spent solely talking about their life, who they are, their goals, their dreams, where they come from, things like that. I'm going to give you guys some questions that I usually ask too. The things that I usually figure out. If it's a 30-minute Zoom, Trigger, stop it. Bailey, can you let Trigger out and then close that door, please?
Trigger, come on.
Thank you, baby. Close the door, please. Thank you. Okay, so if it is a 30-minute Zoom, then I am taking 15 minutes of that Zoom and I'm talking specifically about them. This is just the first Zoom that you get them on, right? I'm speaking directly to them about them, right? Like I'm listening to them. I'm actively asking them questions. I'm getting to know who they are. I'm building that relationship right from the start. I'm building that trust. And that's where they're going to follow you. That's where leadership comes, is through trust. The way to gain trust is to be a good listener, to make sure that you're actively listening and understanding who they are, right? If you've got a solid 20 minutes, 10 minutes of that should be getting to know them. Ask them to tell you about themselves. If you've got only 15 minutes for a call, 7.5 of that time, 7.5 minutes of that time is going to be solely about them, okay? If they want to go a little bit longer, hey, let them go a little bit longer. Let them tell them about you. I mean, let them tell you about them, right? Let them tell you everything that they want to tell you, because they need to say it to somebody. Somebody needs to hear them out. Somebody needs to understand what they're going through. Someone needs to understand where they're headed and what they're doing. And they need someone to have faith in them that they can do it. When you cut them off, if they're still going, it's going to make it really, really, really hard for you to build that relationship, because you're already telling them, all right, that's enough, shut up, right? They've been told that their entire life. So it's so important that you let them talk about themselves. So here's some questions that I do, okay? And I kind of pry into it, guys. Like I get down to the nitty gritty, because ultimately these people that you're signing on your team are going to become your best friends. We're in the business. We're in the business of making friends. That's what we do, right? And so if you're not even willing to take the time to get to know someone, chances are you're not going to create a friendship. That means you're not going to create any trust. That means you're not going to have anybody following you, right? That means you're not going to have anybody who takes you serious as a leader. You need to have that relationship there, that strong respect, that strong trust that's built in the foundation of that first conversation. First impressions are everything. You guys heard that before? Drop a 1 below if you've heard that before, because that's exactly what it's all about, okay? So you want to be yourself on this call. 100% be yourself, because you don't want to catfish them. You don't want to start acting a certain way, and then all of a sudden halfway through, you just start acting some different way, right? I myself 100%. I'm funny. I laugh a lot. I joke a lot. Might cuss a little bit. I'm a little crazy, okay? I act the way that I am. The real way that I am when I'm in person with someone, when I first meet them on the Zoom, okay? So I pry. I ask them questions like, do you have any kids? You got to know, right? If you're becoming friends with someone, you got to know, what are they fighting for? What's their leverage? What's going to pull them forward, right? If they have kids, great. That's probably half the time what they're doing it for, right? Are they in a relationship? Do they have a man? Who else are we becoming friends with in their life? Who else are we, talking to and putting faith into about this business, right? We have to think about these things. Do they live alone? Do they live with family? What's their situation? I had someone tell me earlier that she was, in a house, she was living in the woods, she had dogs, she had this, she had that. And then I asked her, she said she lived with her boyfriend. Here I was in my head imagining that she lived with her boyfriend by themselves, and come to find out they're living in his parents' house. So it's important that you pry into this. You figure out what is going on, because come to find out, the reason why she got started isn't just because she lost her job. It's because she needs to get out of her freaking in-laws house, her soon-to-be in-laws house. She's tired of living there. But if I wouldn't have asked that question in depth, what's your situation? You living alone? Do you live with your boyfriend? Do you guys live together? Stuff like that. If I wouldn't have asked those questions and gotten to know her on a real level like a friend would, then I would have had no idea, right? Because she would have kept that hidden from me. She would have kept that in the closet. So she wouldn't have actually really known her real why, because she was going to keep it all to herself, if that makes sense. And these people need you to know their reason why, so you can remind them of it every single day. So I ask questions like that. Do you have any pets? Right? I asked that question. I had a girl that just got started with me, and I had no idea that she had pets, right? And I went and I asked her this question. I said, do you have any pets or anything? And the first thing she said she had a chocolate lab and a husky. Guess what, guys? I have a chocolate lab. I have a husky. That was literally my first thing that I said was, oh my gosh, we're so much alike. Did you know that? Did you know that I had animals just like you? Did you know that I had cats just like you? Like, oh my gosh, we're just going to be best friends. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how I act. That's who I am. So relate to them. Get to know who they are. Maybe you're so much alike, it's not even funny. Chances are, if they signed with you, girlfriend, they're just like you. They're just like you. I can't even tell you how many people within the last week that I have signed that has something along the lines that is just like me. Their history is the same. Their animals are the same. Their future is the same. What they want in their life is the same. Where they live is similar. What they like to do for fun is similar. Want to know why? Because I'm being me all over Facebook. I'm being me all over Facebook. So when people come into my business, they're just like me, because like attracts like. So it's important to ask these questions, because there's a reason why they're on your Facebook list for a reason. And it's because you're meant to be friends. You're meant to be friends. You're meant to be business partners. They're attracted to you because they're a lot like you. They feel like you're similar in some type of way. They can connect with you. So figure out where they're connecting to you. That's the biggest thing, right? Figure out where they're connecting to you. I asked them questions like, what do you want this what do you want this process to look like for you? I asked them that flat out. What do you want this to look like for you? Right? Most of the time they say, no, I don't know. I don't know. They're just so afraid to talk. They're just so afraid to talk. They don't know. And it's okay, because I pry into it even more and I say, what are your goals? What are your dreams? Most of the time they say, I have no idea. I have no idea what I want. I have no idea. Okay. And here's the thing is that you may have to really dig deep sometimes. Most of the time, they don't know why they're even here. They just know why. They just know what they're running away from. You hear what I'm saying? It's not that they have a goal. It's not that they have a dream. It's that they know that they don't want to live the life that they're living anymore. They know that they don't want to be broke anymore. And so they're not here because they want to make an extra $2,000. They're here because they want to be debt free. They want to not have to worry about putting gas in their car anymore. They want to not have to worry about, paying their bills, being behind on bills, worrying about feeding their children. They don't want to have to worry about those things anymore. And so it's not that they are projecting into the future and they don't think of that as goals. Being able to pay your bills on time, a lot of people, they don't associate that right from the start as a goal. Like, I want to be able to feed my kids on, you know what I mean? I want to be able to pay my bills and not have to worry about them being behind, right? Not a lot of people put two and two together like that. So it's important that we dig deep into who they are and what they're running away from or what they're trying to do in their life, right? Ask them, what's your financial situation like right now? And I know it's a really bold situation, but I've done this so many times so far, and they always, 10 out of 10, they always tell me what their financial situation is, right? How much debt are you in right now? We have a trend on this team. We're all paying off debt. We've all got debt. We're all paying it off. We're all hustling for it. We're all making it happen, okay? How much debt do you have? Find that out. Pull that out of them. How much do you have, right? I write all these answers down. I have a piece of paper. Let's just say this piece of paper, right? I take this, I fold it in half. I can put 4 different people on this piece of paper. I have 1 distributor, 2 distributors, 3 distributor, 4 distributor, right? I take it, I write their name at the top. I write their name at the top. Then I write on there and I say about, and then I write every single thing that I learn about them on here, right? It might be scattered. It might be like, if you're like me, it's literally legit all over the place. I literally have mine all over my page, and it's okay, because I know that if I want to know something, or if I want to know how I'm going to bring their why out in them all the time, I know all I have to do is pull this paper out. I've got their why on here. I've got who they are on here. If they are an animal lover, I've got what they do for work. I've got what their husband's name is. I've got what their husband does for work. I've got, every single thing that they've told me about themselves, right? If you're Shayna's on here right now. If you're Shayna, she likes cows and she owns them, right? I've got these different things that are so important to know about people. Their why, their goals, what do they want their life to really look like? Okay. And the reason why I do this is because I remind them of this all the time. We're leaders. Sometimes people don't know how to lead themselves. Actually, most of the time they don't know how to lead themselves, right? The best way to lead yourself or to lead other people is to remind them of what they're really fighting for all the time. Visualization is everything. We all know this. Law of attraction is huge. It is one of the biggest tools in your business to use for yourself and for your downline. Visualization, having a plan, having it written down, having it out there, right? So I write these things down, okay? After I find out all about them, I say to them, do you remember before, and this is step 3 if you want to write this down. Step 3, I say, you remember when we were talking before and I had said, when you get started with me, we're going to read, right? That's a common question that we ask. Before people get started, you always want to ask them, are you willing to read and grow and become the best version of yourself, right? If you ask them that question, they come in already knowing that they're going to be learning about how to become the best version of themselves. So step 3, I say, do you remember when I told you that we're big readers on this team? They're going to say yes. You're going to say, okay, great. So I have this book that every single person on my team starts out with. If they don't finish it, I can't work with them, because they need to know the industry, right? Set that boundary. Don't be afraid to set that boundary, that they have to get it done in order for you to put your all into them. They have to give you their all back. It doesn't matter if they get it done within the first day, within the first 2 days, within the first 3 days, or within the first week. It doesn't matter, as long as they are making an effort every single day to read a little bit of this book, okay? The first book that I get them on is called GoPro. It talks a lot about network marketing, okay? A lot. It allows them to listen to it. So if they're in the car, people, when they first start, they don't know what it looks like to have time management. Their time management is normally like all over the place. They think that they don't have any time, but they really have like 17 hours that's not being used, but they think that they don't because they're too busy on Netflix, on their phone, scrolling Facebook, talking with their friends about nonsense, about nothing, and moving forward. And I don't know, it's really wild, right? And so this is a good way to wean them in to start listening about the industry and learning about the industry. So I get them started on GoPro, and this is really tricky, okay? I ask them, what goal do they want to set for themselves, okay? This is key. This is important. When you set goals with your downline, don't just tell them what to do. Most people don't respond to taking orders, especially if it's optional, right? Especially if they're not getting an hourly paycheck. They don't respond well to orders. So it's important, very, very, very important, that if you want to grow leaders who are able to make full-time incomes from home and things like that, right? That you get them starting to set goals for themselves. So instead of saying, I want you to read 30 minutes of your book, you want to say, most people listen to at least 30 minutes the first night, but I want to know how much time you're willing to commit to reading or listening to before we meet tomorrow. You can write that down. But I want to know how much time you're willing to commit to reading or listening to before we meet tomorrow. Let them know you're going to go over it. Let them know that you're going to go over it every single day. So if they want to take notes, they can. If they just want to memorize it and wing it, they can. It's totally up to them what they want to do. But this allows them, if they have a busy lifestyle like I used to, this allows them to listen to it on their way to work. This allows them to listen to it while they're folding laundry, while they are doing dishes, while they are taking care of their kids, whatever they're doing, right? This allows them to be hands-free and just listen and just open their mind to this industry. That's the first thing, is teaching them, educating them about the industry, because they're going to have fears, they're going to have doubts, and it's all going to be revolved around everything that's in this book. Okay, so it's so important to get them to understand what it looks like inside this industry. Okay, so number 3, I asked them that question. If you want to let them know, give them those ideas. Hey, you can do it while you're doing dishes. Hey, you can do it while you're driving to work in the morning. Hey, you can do it while you're taking a shower, while you're cleaning your house. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Just listen to it. That's all you have to do. Just listen to it. I'm so excited for you to read this. You're gonna learn so much. Say those things, right? Talk about how excited you are, because when you are excited, it transfers to other people, okay? So the next thing that I do, number 4, and I'm going to kind of rush this along because I got a meeting. So number 4, I always tell them that they're in control of 2 things. Okay. And a lot of you guys who are on here who have a downline or who were trained by me, you know that one of the things that I had said to you was, you're completely in control of your future. If you succeed, it's 100% because you chose it. If you fail, it's 100% because you chose it. Does that make sense? I asked them, does that make sense? I asked them, do you understand what I'm saying? Do you get it? Does that make sense? You know, I asked them that question because I want them to know that, like, I want them to understand that it's 100% up to them whether they show up or not, right? So I say that on the very, very first Zoom, okay? And then the second thing that I say, and this is still, I put this on number 4 too. The second thing that I wean in there while I'm talking to them is, the goal is to teach you everything and get you succeeding independently, away from me, or aside from me, you could say aside from me, as quickly as possible. Does that make sense? Okay. This is letting them know that they're going to have to lead themselves. You're going to teach them everything. That's the first sentence. You're going to teach them everything. But the real goal is to bring them into leadership so that they lead themselves forward, right? They show up themselves. They do their host to post themselves. They post themselves. They update their story themselves. They have a question, they ask the question themselves, right? They don't wait around for someone to come and get it. So this is the biggest goal. You want them as quickly as possible to transition into a leader for themselves and lead themselves from the front, have a vision for themselves, have a goal for themselves, know where they're going, know how to do all the things, right? This is what it is. And that might take a week, that might take a month, that might take 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It's just whatever pace it takes them. That's what you want them to know, is that the goal is to get them to do everything on their own as quickly as you possibly can, right? So the next thing that I do, number 5, is I do host to post. I always teach them host to post. I'm like super thirsty right now. I always teach them host to post, okay? I break it down for them. I remind them of a time where they posted for me. If they've never posted for me, I explain to them step by step what we do. I ask them, before I teach them, I ask them for permission to lead them. So what I say, step number 5, is I say, all right, girl, you understand that. I'm super excited to work with you. Are you ready to learn something new? Write that down for yourself. Are you ready to learn something new? I'm really excited to work with you, right? Ask them that question. You're ready to learn something new? They're going to give you permission to lead them from the front. It's important that they give you permission, because if they don't, they're not 100% attentive. They're not 100% soaking it in, right? This is crazy because I never used to do this before, but reading all these leadership books that I'm reading, I'm understanding it. I'm getting it now. I'm understanding why it wasn't working for me. It was because I was barking orders to everybody. So asking them, like, is this like waking anybody else up? Drop a fire emoji below if you feel like this is like waking you up right now, because it woke me up so much when I heard all these things. Okay. So ask him for permission and say, do you want to learn something new? Right? The next step that you say is, okay, you explain to them host to post. If they've never done it before, you're going to literally say it as simple as you possibly can. Okay, so we have a system, right? We have a system that works, and it works if you work it. It doesn't work if you don't work it. Let me know if that makes sense, right? Ask them that question. When they say yes, say, okay, so the system is we all put $5 into a pot. This $5 adds up to like $1,000. We split this into 4 different weeks in the month. So that equals out to like $200, $250 right around there every single month, okay? We give this away. In order for our friends on Facebook to get into it, all they have to do is throw up a simple post on their wall for us. So then when they post on their wall, they get into the giveaway. Their friends start commenting and liking on the post. And then we message their friends, and we've got brand new people to get started in this business. Does that make sense? Get used to asking that question. Does that make sense? You're saying it in a good way. You're saying it in a nice way. You're saying it in a way like, I want you following along. I want you right next to me. I want to teach you everything. I want you to know exactly what you're doing, right? You're putting that belief into them that you're really going to be there for them. Does that make sense? Ask them that question, right? Let them know that you want to make sure that they follow along. When they say yes, that's when you say, okay, are you ready to try this out? Are you ready to try this out? And if there's someone who's already posted for you, you can say something like, do you remember that one time that you threw up that post on your wall for me? They're going to say yes. You're going to say, okay, that's our system, girl. It's so simple. Then explain to them, we all put $5 into a pot. Out of that $5, it adds up to $1,000. You know, you're going to say the same exact thing. But the first question is remind them of when they did it for you, because then it's going to click with them. Okay, this is what Chelsea was doing, right? So this is what I do. I tell them, okay, are you ready to get started trying this and doing it? They say yes. You say, okay, you're going to go to your friends list. Let me know when you're there. They're going to say, okay, I'm here. You're going to say, all right, you're going to take this message and you're going to send it to the next 10 people, the first 10 people on your friends list. Make sure you follow through and finish sending the message to every single person. And then after you're finished sending it to 10, I'm going to help you respond to every single person that messages you back. In the meantime, don't respond to them. Don't answer their messages. Does that sound good? Get them coming back to you. You're throwing them the ball. You're saying, does that sound good? Now they have to send the ball back to you. They have to go and physically do it and come back to you, right? So you're throwing that ball back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Go to your friends list. Okay, I'm there. Okay, now send this message out to 10 people. Okay, I've done it, right? They're throwing it back and forth every single time. When they respond, let me know so I can tell you exactly what to say back. Guys, they don't know what to say to people. They came in just as clueless as you were when you first started. They need someone to show them what to say back. Otherwise, they're going to be like me, and they're going to they're going to fall in their business like 60 freaking times before they get it right. But they don't need to, because they have a strong leader. They have a leader that is willing to teach them everything. So if you're willing to teach them everything, get out there and teach them everything. Show them exactly what they're supposed to say back for a little while, right? Even if it takes them a whole week of doing host to post for it to finally click and for them to get it. It takes some people longer. It takes some people shorter. Some people get it within a couple of hours. Some people get it within a couple of weeks. It's literally just you keep trying and keep trying, okay? So you're going to get them to go through with a whole entire host to post. And then the last thing that you're going to do is you're going to say to them, okay, so I want to meet tomorrow. Is that okay with you? They're going to usually say yes. Say, I would love to meet every day until you get the hang of it. Does that sound good? I want to make sure that you're taken care of. I want to make sure that you make this money that you need for, and then remind them of their why. For, this is their why. For paying all your bills. For buying that vehicle that you need. I want to make sure you make all the money for. This is a great place to remind them of their why. This is why you write things down, so you can always remind them of it, okay? So I asked them what time out of these times work best for you, right? And then I plan the Zoom. I remind them of that goal. And then if they are doing host to post, like let's just say they get started with host to post and they kill it within like the first 5 minutes. Okay, now I would ask them if they want to set themselves a goal. And the way that you can say it is, usually we get out 10 hosts to post a day. We get 10 people to post for us every single day. Do you want to set a goal for yourself in order to jumpstart your business and launch it really good, right? You can say something as simple as that. You can write that down. You can rewatch this video if you need to do that. But if you get them to set their own goal, guys, it opens up another part of their brain that allows them to set that reminder for themselves so they actually get it done. Whereas if you tell them to, they're going to think you're being bossy and they're not going to do it most of the time. So it's important that you get them setting the goal, but you're telling them, you're giving them little hints of, normally we get 10 out a day, but I want to make sure you're setting your own goals. So what works good for you? How do you want to launch your business? Do you want to go for that big 10 and make it happen and get that money? Or do you want to go a little bit lower, or do you want to go a little bit higher? Like, what would you like to do, right? Have them set that goal. And when they set that goal, have them write it down. We all know the importance of writing things down. So it's so ridiculously important that we get them writing these goals down for themselves. If they know what their why is, okay, have them write it down, right? Have them write the things down that they need. So I have them set a goal for themselves, and then I set that next time for that next day, right? Usually within the first week, I usually meet with them for at least 30 minutes. I set myself a goal of an hour just to give them that extra oomph, that extra time. But I know that not everybody can hang on for an entire hour. So it's important that you say, okay, we're going to meet for at least 30 minutes. And if we can go for an hour, then we go for an hour. But if my schedule is packed and I don't even have an hour, that's great. I gave myself 30 minutes of time to work with this person to make it happen. Sometimes we have to make those sacrifices in order to get a good team that builds residual income for you. You have to be willing to make those sacrifices in order to show up for them. So I have a few tips here that I wrote down just so I could explain it to you guys. So tip number 1, be sure to set a time for 1 hour for the first few days. That was what I just said. Tip number 2, always try to schedule when the kids are sleeping, okay? I have done this so many times where I schedule right during the time when Bo is awake, okay? It's crazy. It's wild. Most of the time he's clung on to me like a spider monkey and he's just sucking the life out of me, ready to go, right? And he's wild, he's crazy, he's loud, he screeches, he distracts me, he gives me anxiety during those times. And so if you know that your kids are wild, try to set a goal for getting your Zoom calls with your newbies during nap time or at night when they go to bed, or in the morning before they wake up in the morning, okay? Or while they're preoccupying themselves, watching TV, eating dinner, whatever you can do, make it happen, because it's going to help you out so much if you separate your kids and their relationship with you and your newbies and their relationship with you, right? So important to do that. The last tip that I had was each Zoom. Okay, I might do another live about this at some point, but I gotta go. So each Zoom, I'm kind of going to give you like a super quick layout of it, okay? With the Zoom, the first thing that I do on that second Zoom is I ask about their day and I get them excited about their goals. I praise them. If they got those hosts to post out, no matter how many, if they got 2 hosts to post out, I say, oh my gosh, that's freaking awesome. 2 hosts to post on your first day is amazing. You did so freaking good. They need that. They need to know how important it is for them to do that host to post. And the best way to get good behavior, to keep going, is to praise good behavior, right? It's like when we want our kids to be good, we have to make sure we praise them when they're really good, right? Same thing in this business. If you want your newbies to be a hustler, you have to praise the little things. Even if it's just a couple of host to posts, that's better than no host to post, right? Even if they reached out and they got, their mother involved, or they got their sister interested in the products, that's better than nothing, right? So it's important to praise those little tiny things that they're doing, jumping outside of their comfort zone, because a lot of people are scared crapless to even do that, okay? So it's important that we praise that. We get them excited about their goals. Try to remind them at least once every single Zoom of what they're fighting for. In some way, shape, or form, get them excited about it. Talk about it over and over and over and over again. They need that reminder, because otherwise they'll walk away, right? Number 2, go over the book. I go in this order. I praise them. I get them excited. I ask them how many host posts they did. I ask them how their night went. I ask them how their day went. All these things, right? And then I go over the book. I say, okay, so you started 30 minutes of the book yesterday, right? What did you learn about it? What was the biggest thing that stood out to you? Ask these questions to them. Get them talking about this book, because when they talk about it, it refreshes their memory, and then they start to realize that they're not alone. Somebody else has read this book. Somebody else can connect to them about this book. Talk about how it makes you feel when you hear those things, right? Share, when I read the book, this is what I thought. Explain how you felt when you read it. Explain how you woke up. You felt like you were like, oh my gosh, this is so real. This is so true, right? Do that for the first couple ones or whatever. Or do that every single time that you talk about the book, okay? Number 3, I always go with host to post. I get them to push for 10 host to post while we're on the call together, okay? So I do the same exact thing. I say, okay, are you ready to work together today? They're going to say yes. You say, okay, let's go to your friends list. Notice how I said let's instead of go to your friends list. Let's go to your friends list. It's a little bit less harsher. It's a little bit easier to ask them to do something, right? Let's go to your friends list. Ask them to go to their friends list. When they go to their friends list, say, okay, we're going to send this message out to the next 10 people starting right where you left off yesterday, okay? Get them to send those messages. Get them to start pushing for those host to post, okay? Super important to do this. Number 4, after I get them to go with host to post, right before, I would say I cut the Zoom off maybe 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes before I have to jump off. And I say, okay, what time works best for you tomorrow to hop on? I ask them to set themselves a goal. I say, all right, do you want to set a goal for yourself for the book tonight? They're going to say yes. I say, okay, what about host to post? How many host to posts are you willing to get out today? This is really exciting, right? I say this to them. They plan their own they plan, how much they want to do in the book. They plan how many host to posts they want to get out. They plan what time they want to meet with me. They say it to themselves. They're holding themselves accountable at that point. I'm not doing anything. I'm just giving them options, right? So it's important for them to see that you're just giving them options. That's it. You're just telling them you can choose between this or this. Which one you want to do, right? You get to be the decision maker in this business. We all are our own decision maker. So it's important that we exercise that right from day one, that they get to make their own choices. They get to make their own decisions. We don't tell them what they can and can't do. We don't tell them what they should or shouldn't do, right? We tell them, this is what we do. You can do this or you can do your own thing. It's up to you, right? And so giving them those tips in that light is so important. There was one last thing that I wanted to say. Those are the tips for the Zooms and stuff like that. If I have anything else, I'm going to put it in the comment sections for you guys. But I hope that this helps you guys a lot. I know that for the longest time, I was kind of clueless on what I was even doing when I was training people. But this is how you duplicate. This is how you get people going in this business. You want to at some point talk to them about their 6 loyal customers. You want to make sure that they know when they get 6 loyal customers, they get a $150 shopping spree. Ask them, how good would that feel if you could buy $150 in products? Wouldn't that raise your confidence? Wouldn't that make you feel good? Ask them those questions, because when you do ask them those questions, that gets them playing from their heart, from their emotions, how good that would feel, right? That's a feeling that comes from your heart. So asking them those questions, how good would it feel to get $150 in product? How good would it feel to pay off that debt? How good would it feel to fill your gas tank every single week so you don't have to worry about it at all? How good would it feel to pay all your bills on time? How good would it feel to not have to rely on food stamps anymore? How good would this feel? When you get them playing from their feelings, they tend to keep going because they're excited, because their feelings are taking over their mind. So it doesn't matter what's going on up here. What matters is what's coming from here, right? So it's so important that we play into that. And I think that's pretty much it for talking to people. And I just get them as confident as I possibly can with Host to Post. They get their 6 loyal customers. That's when I put them in the team pages, right? The other team page, Leaders Made Here, you have to have a commitment letter. That's something you can go over with them after they get their 6 loyal customers, but keep it simple. Simple systems work always. If you keep it simple, they can follow that simple system. Once they get on a roll and they get their first wins in Host to Post, your whole business is going to change, because now they're going to start leading themselves. They're going to know what Host to Post looks like. They're going to know how to make it happen, right? If they ask you about samples, or if you want to talk to them about samples, wean that into like the second or the third meeting that you have with them. Say, hey, listen, you've got these samples in your sample pack or whatever, and you can write this down for like your day 2 or day 3 agenda. You've got these samples. Do you want to sell them? You want to send them to yourself? You want to sell them? Okay, go post on your Facebook how many cups of coffee do you drink a day with a colored background. Walk them through what they say after they post something like that and people comment on it, right? Walk them through those simple steps. But by this point, if you do this and you follow this, within a week, you're going to have a new best friend. And you're going to have duplication already starting on your business. You're going to start seeing that your new distributors are going to start getting their 6 loyal customers. Every single one of them. You're going to start having confidence in your business that you know how to lead from the front, because now you know the system. Now you know how to follow it, and now you know how to teach it. So I love you guys. I hope that you got something great from this. Tell me what your aha moment was below. What was awesome for you? What really woke you up? What really made you feel like, wow, this is something I wasn't doing, but now I'm going to do it. And I hope you have an amazing Thursday night.